Tonight, we look into the disappearance of Kevin Ives and Don Henry and how a case of two disappearing boys turned into greed, guilt, and most of all, conspiracy. My name is Chandler Blankenship, and welcome to 60 Minutes. We start at 4 a.m., where a train conductor and his fellow operator notice a green tarp laying across the tracks. This is in Alexander, Arkansas, a small town in Saline County, Arkansas, a city well known for drug smuggling and drug dropping. As they come up to this, they notice that it looks like two bodies under this tarp. There's about a mile in between the train and the tarp itself. They begin to try to slow down, however, it turns out to be too late. They then notice the way they hit their bodies, they do not come apart right. In a sense, when a train hits a live body, it looks about what you would imagine a water balloon hitting a wall looking like. It splatters, it's gruesome, it's very disgusting. However, it was not that. They were already seeming to decompose, and the flesh was a more purple color, as if the blood had already thinned more. As they noticed this, they started assuming that the bodies were already dead. Immediately, right after the scene, and after it was announced that Don Henry and Kevin Ives were dead, there were people admitting that they were at the scene, at least 6 of them. However, immediately, when they tried to give their testimony of what happened and go before a grand jury, they started disappearing or dying in mysterious ways, the biggest of which being Kevin McCaskill. Kevin McCaskill gave his testimony to the police and immediately started acting like something was wrong. He started telling people different things like he was going to die and he knew his time had come. He even had his funeral planned out. Kevin was found dead one morning in his garage with 113 stab wounds. His neighbor recollected that she saw him in the garage and saw 5 men wearing all black going into his garage. It's not known yet who killed Kevin McCaskill. All that's known is that this story is not right and something is off. Immediately, right after the scene and after it was announced that Don Henry and Kevin Ives were dead, there were people admitting that they were at the scene, at least 6 of them. However, immediately, when they tried to give their testimony of what happened and go before a grand jury, they started disappearing or dying in mysterious ways, the biggest of which being Kevin McCaskill. Kevin McCaskill gave his testimony to the police and immediately started acting like something was wrong. He started telling people different things like he was going to die and he knew his time had come. He even had his funeral planned out. Kevin was found dead one morning in his garage with 113 stab wounds. His neighbor recollected that she saw him in the garage and saw 5 men wearing all black going into his garage. It's not known yet who killed Kevin McCaskill. All that's known is that this story is not right and something is off.
If we really want to understand this story, we have to go back to at least 1957. A man by the name of Barry Seal is becoming a very important player in the aviation world. He's an extremely talented pilot and is making his way through the Vietnam War as a decorated hero. He's doing crazy missions and taking his love for aviation home when the war ends. Now the war ends and he starts doing freelance gigs, taking cargo in and out of specifically South American countries, Central American countries, and bringing them back to the States. At some point, he begins doing contracts for the CIA, and that's where our story winks in. It becomes a little darker. Now doing contracts for the CIA was a big thing for Barry. This would mean that he could become a protected witness, or at least he had a shot at it. His crime ring was so large that he was starting to move north to Saline County, Arkansas, the main place of our story. He believed he'd be invincible here. He could have the entire government in his pocket, but he would soon learn that that's not true. However, his drug drops would continue to be used even after his death, and that's where our story ties in, because Barry Seal, doing these government contracts, was helping the Contras, and now, similar to that plane behind me, was going to have a drop that would ruin both the lives of 2 boys and at least 6 other witnesses. Now I mentioned that Arkansas's governor at the time, was involved in this. To know how he was involved, he was the man who commissioned the coroner on this case. Who was the governor? Future President of the United States, Bill Clinton. The coroner, he knew this coroner because he cleared Bill Clinton's mother of a charge for killing a man as a nurse anesthetist who did not connect tubes properly for oxygen. However, Dr. Malik, our coroner, was able to clear his mother of this case with his rigged autopsies.
On the topic of corruption, the Saline County Police handled the entire case very poorly. They left evidence on the scene, including a foot of one of the boys. They later came back 3 days later to retrieve the foot.
And now we're going to do a small demonstration of the events that occurred that day between the police.
All right, so the body's off to the corners. The evidence is all in the office. I think we cleaned up nice.
Yeah, I think so. What's that?
Well, we can see there's a few stab wounds around here and here, but I think we'll say it's marijuana poisoning because they detected about just enough of like one cigarette in their bloodstream. They maybe took a puff, but I think that killed them. They fell asleep for sure on the train tracks. It's their own fault, not ours. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Dan. What's up, man?
I want you to, you remember those boys on the loop?
Yeah, I remember those boys.
I want you to testify for us, but don't make us a part of it, alright?
Well, I can't do that, Dan. That's not just.
Hey, you better do it or else there's gonna be consequences.